4 years ago, a question popped into my head. This was not one of those kid questions like, how much bubblegum will it take to blow a bubble as big as a house? It was an important question, one that was going to change my life forever. My name is Onosejele, as you have just heard, but my friends call me Jele. 4 years ago, I wrote my first book, The Adventures of Coconut Jake. 3 more came after, and today I have 5 books in all on Amazon, with the foreword written by the Vice President of Nigeria. Now, the question you must all be wondering is, how did I get to where I am today? Well, it was childish curiosity and little question that got me to where I am today. As a child, I was always a bookworm. I remember a season when I was obsessed with these little history books about famous figures in the world. It was the holidays and my parents knew it was going to be a boring one. So they got us books. And out of these books were at least 30 of those history books about famous people. My parents had said, at least I'll get them through the holidays. Well, in 1 or 2 weeks, I had finished all of them. Books, at that time, and as they are still now, were my way to leave boredom and enter a world full of magical creatures, beautiful scenery, and mind-boggling characters. I started reading Charles Dickens somewhere here, but that's not important. Yeah, so as I was saying, I found books to be a pathway from my soft spot on the couch to a world full of adventure and suspense. But at one point, you leave your tiny, innocent self and become a curious, eager child. That was when I asked a question that was going to make me one of the youngest authors in Africa at the time. Let me pause on my story for a moment and talk about what I perceive to be the 2 main types of books: mirror books and window books. Mirror books are a type of book that shows you a character like yourself, someone with your beliefs, your values, and your experiences and lifestyle. On the other hand, we have window books. Window books are a type of book that show you the world through someone else's eyes. Someone with a different belief, different lifestyle, and different value. At this point in my life, I was reading mostly window books. Why? Because that was what was available to me. And the mirror books that we had were not for my age. The mirror books I read, I enjoyed them. But though they were engaging, the perspective they were taken from was a perspective I didn't seem to relate to. So, while I enjoyed the adventures of sword fighting with dragons, all the achievements the characters made seemed to be designed for a certain color, place, or status. That was when I asked the question, why? with white kids seems so much fun. But the books, with us Africans, talk about war, abuse, and poverty. Think about that for a moment. Why? That was what I was thinking too. At this point in my life, and still now, when I had a question, I asked my mom. So I asked her. This time, she didn't have an answer, which was weird because I thought she always did. But though she didn't have an answer, she asked me to find a way I could be the answer. That is one of my family's philosophies. When you find a problem, think of a way you can be the solution to that problem. That is what I set out to do. I took up the challenge and started writing. The result? The first edition of The Adventures of Coco and Jake came out. It was not the best book initially, as it had poorly printed illustrations and grammatical errors, those type of things that a little me wouldn't have understood. But that did not stop me. Slowly, The Adventures of Coco and Jake began to take shape. We found a publisher and illustrator who were willing to work for a child. And this was exactly how I wanted the book to look. I told the illustrator the exact shade of black for the skin and the very afro hairstyles. Because you see, I wanted every child, African child, to see Coco and Jake and know that what was possible for them was possible for them too. I wanted to have what I didn't have when I read my books. Wouldn't it be nice to have a variety of books in which African children can see themselves and other people from other places in the world can see them too? As a young author, I have developed a love for using the power of mirrors in African literature. A new generation of Africans are coming, and we don't want them to think that the more Western they can look or act, the better they will be, just because they have read only Western literature, or that of any race. We need to raise a new generation of Africans who are proud to be as themselves. Africans who know the best version of themselves is pure, original, and authentic. To achieve this, we need more mirrors in African literature. How? Well, it's quite simple. Create more books, or movies, or social platforms in which African children can see themselves in. At the moment, we have some people who are doing this, like the two kid authors Stacey Fru, and Micheline Kamakeng, both from South Africa. And in Malawi, I had the privilege to interview author Lindsay Kachika Jele and illustrator Kate Ntandawire as part of a school project. But the gap is still wide, and we need more hands on deck for this one. According to a UNESCO study in 2014, 2% of the books published in Africa were by African authors. What does that tell you? Think about that. Is it fine? Is it right that only 2% of books published in our country are written by its inhabitants? Now I've given you a moment to think. You probably know that there is not enough books to go around for the next generation. You see, a book can have a strong impact on a child's life depending on what they put into his or her mind. And whatever they put into his or her mind, they will think that is reality. And that reality will shape their lives. This includes social media, books, movies, and other platforms that kids engage themselves with. Now, I know there has been an increase in numbers of books. I mean, this was taken in 2014. It's 2023 now. Nevertheless, there is still a lot more to be done. As I conclude, I want to share my thoughts on a few ways we can bridge this gap. All children out there, embrace your creativity. Those big ideas that might seem silly are going to lead you somewhere in the future, and they led me. Keep at it. Parents, please encourage and support your children's creativity, because you never know where it might lead them. If you're a writer, illustrator, publisher, or educator, let's work together to create more mirror books for our African children. We need African children themselves to be part of creating the kinds of books they want to read. Kids actually have the most amazing, imaginative minds and can tell the best stories. Finally, the government of Malawi, and indeed governments all over Africa, are needed. They can take intentional steps in building literary spaces in which our children can develop their writing skills. It's a crucial gap that needs attention. Join me in creating a world where every African child has access to mirrors that reflect their own culture, beliefs, values, lifestyles, which are also uplifting and inspiring. We should not stop there, but we should also share our authentic African stories with our friends from every part of the world. Together, we can build a brighter future for the next generation of Africans. Let's take action today. Thank you.